Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Hearthstone deck Spotlight. My name is Tommy Wave, and today we'll be taking a look at ThatMage's Midrange Paladin. This is a very interesting deck, a deck that I really wanted to, I've been really excited to take a look at for the past 24 hours. Comes to us from a lovely person, ThatMage, who is in the chat right now, who's submitted a couple of decks to us before, which I have really enjoyed, most notably the Bogle's Paladin deck, which was a really interesting aggressive paladin deck revolved around, similar to the Magic the Gathering archetype of Bogles, where you land one kind of irritating to remove low drop creature like an Argent Squire or Righteous Protector. You strap a bunch of pants, a bunch of hats to it, a bunch of buffs, you adapt it, you Blessing of Might it, you do everything you can, just make this huge creature that is hard to remove, and then you kill your opponent with them. We also got cards like Blessing of Wisdom in here, which kind of keeps our hands stocked up. But I guess one of the weaknesses of the deck was obviously it's a very early game aggressive deck. And oftentimes if your opponent did have the right series of answers for your first threat, it was quite hard to get back into the game. So I believe that what ThatMage has done here has kind of taken that Bogle's kind of framework and given this a bit more of a mid-game feel, giving it some more punchy options in those turn 3 and 4 slots. And we'll take a look at the kind of card choice we've got in here. So as far as 1-drop minions, we've got Argent Squire, we've got Firefly and Righteous Protector, so just the 5 1-drops, so not a super huge commitment to this, but we are going to try and have to mulligan for those. We've also got, like I said, the adaptation here, so we're looking for Wind Furies plus attacks to get aggressive, or possibly some untargetable by spells to make our minions just a little bit more hard to remove. We've also got the Blessing of Might, Blessing of Wisdom, which we mentioned before. 2-drop, we've got Keleseth. I think I agree with Keleseth in this more mid-rangey version of the deck. I think if we were going for the proper aggressive Bogles deck, I think Keleseth is probably a bit weaker, as generally Keleseth, you want the deck to get more value over time. Or you want your minions to hit a certain flashpoint of hard to deal with, and this is certainly a deck that's going to if we have Keleseth down for 5, 6, 7, 8 turns, certainly a deck that is going to benefit from that. Onto the 3-drops, we've got a Singleton Divine Favor. I think 1 Divine Favor might be correct here, but 0 could also be correct, just because we have so many 3 and 4 drops. Often it gets hard to kind of dump all of that out of your hand, and the 11 1-drops, that might be just a little bit too few, or it might be the right amount, so we'll definitely be keeping an eye on this 1 Divine Favor. We've also got, speaking of one-ofs, one of Lone Champion, card you might not have played with before. 3 mana 2/4. If you control no other minions, gain Taunt and Divine Shield. So I believe this is still going with the Bogles kind of game plan, where if your opponent does have an answer to that first minion, you might have a Lone Champion to follow up, and Taunt and Divine Shield on a 3 mana 2/4. It's not so bad. But definitely does have a bit of a downside of being a bit of a brick if you are kind of ahead on board or competing on board. 1 of Ironbeak Owl, not the only silence in the deck though. 12 Sword of Justice, so a card that I think we will definitely be keeping an eye on, because this is the slot where you would see the Unidentified Mole. Unidentified Mole obviously has some great modes and some not so great modes, whereas Sword of Justice is almost always going to be fine if you're playing a minion. So I think this is maybe a bit more of a high rolly effect. The sword is more of a consistent effect, but we can't ignore the fact that the Unidentified Mole hits for 2 and has 2 durability, whereas the sword does have to consume its own durability in order to do its effect, and only really hits for 1. So we'll also be keeping an eye on that. Double Thrallmar Farseer, usually you only see 1 here. It is of course for the Corpse Takers, but I'm really interested to see how a deck with the two Wind Fury effects goes. Obviously we're significantly less likely to play a Corpse Taker without Wind Fury if we do have 2 Thrallmar Farseers. However, Thrallmar Farseer on its own, bit of a weaker minion, though if we can strap a Blessing of Might or a Blessing of Kings to this boy, he might just go to town. So I think this is actually a really interesting move here. ThatMage also mentions, of course, so speaking of Corpse Taker, curving turn 3 Sword of Justice into turn 4 Corpse Taker. Quite good. A 4/4 Corpse Taker, of course, one of the weakest elements of Corpse Taker is just the stats. Obviously having all of the buffs is great, but making it a 4/4 could actually make it a little bit more resilient. Obviously pushes it out of range of Blessing of Pain as well. Blessing of Pain. That'd be pretty cool. Shadow Word Pain. Anyway, so we'll talk about the 4-drops. So we do, of course, have these Corpse Takers. This is, I guess, the ideal minion in the deck to be trying to kill your opponent with, to be buffing up. And, you know, if we do miss those kind of early drops, then the Corpse Taker can probably take over the game on its own. We've also got Blessing of Kings here, once again, contributing to that, you know, buff theme, that Bogle's theme. Chillblade Champion here, I assume a little bit for the lifesteal as well, but ThatMage does mention it's quite good for the reach as well. Can be quite good with, you know, Sword of Justice to buff up after our opponent's answered all those minions. Not sure if I like the commitment to 2 though, and we'll certainly be keeping an eye on this just as we are keeping an eye on the Thrallmar Farseer. One of Saronite Chain Gang is always fine. Obviously doesn't get the buff, the true buff from Prince Keleseth, but I do like just the one of here. One of Spellbreaker, so we do have 2 silences in the deck. And then at the top end we've got Prince Liam, gives us another option for a late game. We can turn all these, you know, this dozen or so 1-drops into legendary minions. Might give us a chance in the game. I've got Ziliax here as another Divine Shield, Lifesteal, Rush. Just you almost always play Ziliax with Corpse Taker unless you're playing evens. And the one change I have made to the deck is I did cut the Black Knight for a Leroy Jenkins, as I do not have a Black Knight, but Leroy seems totally fine here. I'd also, I think, maybe another Silence or any effect like that. ThatMage mentions in their write-up, I believe, that replacing it with, Argent Commander, Mossy Horror, Wind Fury Harpy, all pretty reasonable options. So we're going to be jumping into this game. Certainly a lot to learn, and I certainly don't think that this is the final iteration of this deck. We're hopefully going to be figuring out a couple of these 1 and 2 ofs, you know, are they the right numbers, getting some learns from this, and maybe in the future we can play an updated version of this list just to see how it's progressing. So without further ado, let's jump into some games. Okay. We are back here with ThatMage's Midrange Paladin. Full mulligan here. But we're not too upset about that. So we're going to draw our Prince Keleseth and a 1-drop. Too easy. This game's very easy.
The light dims, but we fight.
Pretty tempted to coin that Keleseth here, but I feel like we might be better served going turn 2 Keleseth, turn 3 coin Corpse Taker. But actually against a priest, I think we're going to go for the Sword of Justice Corpse Taker, so... In fact, maybe that turn we should have gone for like a coin Blessing of Might.
Is someone injured?
Technically, you are running Black Knight some games with Liam. That's fair enough. Good point.
Blood will flow for justice.
Repent!
Our opponent doesn't snap kill this Corpse Taker. I think it might kill them. This is pretty threatening though. Means that all they have to have is some form of damage. Very scared of our opponent having like a Spirit Lash or something.
Blood will flow.
Winter
For
is
justice.
I'm surprised at how well this Sword of Justice is allowing us to trade into things. Adapt for poison? Maybe? I mean, the 1 in 3 chance is certainly not something we should be aiming for, right? Like, I'd rather just play this Corpse Taker, hope our opponent thinks we're not playing the deck that we're playing, and then next turn we can like adapt, get hopefully untargetable by spells, hit it with a Blessing of Kings, and hope we can kill our opponent in 2 turns before they can Psychic Scream.
I wonder.
Pain. Okay. We were really scared of Spirit Lash. Alright. Let's see what happens. Okay. Is it lethal? Hold on. 13? Yeah, okay. Oh, better lucky than good, folks. Oh. It feels really good. It feels really good just being an amazing Hearthstone player. Like, sometimes I'm just like, you know what card would be good? This card. You know what would be great? Discovering lethal mid-turn. You know, that's what being a great Hearthstone player is all about. You don't need to know the meta. You don't need to grind for 14 hours a day. You don't need to even need any skill. Just kill your opponent. GG's.
We'll fight with honor.
Alright, here we are with the Midrange Paladin deck. I think we're definitely going to keep one of these Righteous Protectors. Slightly tempting to keep a second, although without like a buff or anything to deploy onto this first Righteous Protector. I think getting 2 draws at our Kaliseth, or particularly a Blessing of Might, Blessing of Wisdom rather. Really love a Blessing of Wisdom here. Oh, there's the Kaliseth, so can't be too unhappy with this draw. We got a Blessing of Wisdom.
But we fight.
I mean, if our opponent doesn't like coin daggers here, maybe we get to like Blessing of Wisdom this Kaliseth. Draw into a bunch of buffed boys. Look at those curves. Exactly. Okay, okay.
Ha, this guy's toast.
Repent.
Yeah, if our opponent wants to dagger up here on 2, it's a pretty soft play. Gives us another turn. Any more turns we can buy ourselves to get towards Liam, to get towards drawing more buffed minions, is the better. Like that boy.
To battle!
I don't need any of
The
you.
light protects me.
Alright, we are Divine Shielded up. I do wonder how a Blood Knight will go in this deck.
Folks, who goes there?
Ah, young thug. As much as I want to get this Liam out there, this Ziliax really shuts our opponent down.
Precision.
Like if I was playing, depending on the deck that our opponent's playing, it might just be
Precision.
oh, okay. I was gonna say like it might just be a concede type of thing, but they in there.
What does the future hold?
For justice!
I fight.
Job done.
The anti-synergy of Kelliseth and Liam. I mean, I don't think it's so much of an anti-synergy. Like, because most of the time you're going to upgrade those minions. Like, you're going to turn that 1 mana 2/2 Argent Squire into something better than a 1 mana 2/2 Divine Shield. Alright, well, now we are the one on the clock, but we have the 4/5 Thrallafas here. And we're about to play a 5/5 Corpse Taker. Our opponent needs to draw quite a few cards over the next few turns.
Winter is here.
And it's cold.
I see your
I fight. I fight.
For justice!
Alright, opponent. This is our board. Come at me. If they're Vile Spine, it's actually probably... Okay, they don't, unless this is a coin.
There once was a man from Gil-
Minstrel. Alright, so they got minions. Rip Vanish. Oh yeah, we do die pretty hard to a Vanish here.
Brave heroes of Gilnet. Arise!
But it's fine, we'll get to replace all those one-cost legendaries we made.
The light protects me.
reporting for duty. Battle. I see your
Chill out. Chill out.
job done.
Alright. Even if they do vanish, they have to have a sick follow-up. I think what we're more concerned is that Elven Minstrel got our opponent a Vile Spine. A Vile Spine Slayer. And that they'll be able to go like, you know, minion, Vile Spine, our Corpse Taker, trade. Now they have a 1 mana Van Cleef. Oh! Get out of here. Better lucky than good. It was a tasty morsel. So yeah, I think that we obviously had a phenomenal start there. I think that curve might in fact be one of our better ones. Our opponent did hit the Vile Spine, but they hit it pretty late. Yeah, that was a pretty reasonable game. We kind of showed how much muscle we can have in that mid-range, in that mid-game. So, GG's. Imagine if that was a Liam Leroy. Was it? It certainly wasn't, because it was the Golden Leroy, and I don't have a Golden Liam. So, GG's.
And the light.
Alright. Here with ThatMage's Midrange Paladin. Bit of an interesting... Oh, I mean, this is a difficult part of the mulligan because we do kind of want to hit some early creatures for some early pressure. But Corpse Taker is a fantastic late game drop. I don't think against Odd Paladin we should be going for this though. We need to compete on board early. And I also think we want to try and hit that Kelliseth. So I'm going to send all of this back. Give ourselves 4 shots at Kelliseth or one of our 5 1-drops. We whiffed, but especially in this matchup, I think if this is Odd Paladin. It's not. What is this? Is this Togwaggle Paladin? I think it's Togwaggle Paladin. Did Togwaggle Paladin play Hydrologists? I don't think it did. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's the like combo paladin.
Reporting for duty.
Secret paladin. I don't know. I don't know a paladin deck that just jams a turn 1 secret very often.
Reporting for duty.
Crypt just did a vid on it. Oh, well, then, yeah, I'm guessing it probably is Secret Paladin. Whatever Secret Paladin is, of
The
course.
light protects me.
Reporting for duty.
Got a, if you link me to the deck list, that would be fantastic. Let me just bring it up.
Close the gates!
Keeper of Uldamal. That looks like a wild deck. Argent Horse Rider, yeah, it's a wild deck. Unless there's like a standard version as well.
I fight.
Get down!
Mm-hmm.
Get down!
Get down.
I must move quickly.
The battle!
The light glows. We
Opponent's definitely goofing with us. I think this might be a pretty tough matchup to try to get the pretty tough matchup to try and get the early game aggression off. This Corpse Taker does have a lot of buffs.
Let me think.
Maybe we just try to
How long can this go on?
wear our opponent out a bit,
Reporting for duty.
I think. $4.13. Let's take a look. Secret Paladin, yep. I mean, it looks very similar to the Secret Paladin lists we've played in the past. I think it was Happy Boys that were experimenting with it. I think their list was super duper tight. I think that this Secret Paladin list is pretty tight too.
Ungoro belongs to the Titan.
Though we only have to beat this Tarim and one Vine Cleaver, one Fungal Mancer, maybe one other Call to Arms, and we've kind of got out of like their danger zone. But these Divine Shields killing two of our minions is not great. Should be fine. I don't know. I think our opponent might just be able to pull through.
Let me think.
Weird.
To battle!
Unfortunate draw. Would have rather that be a legendary minion. Confused why our opponent didn't just trade in last turn.
Let me think.
They could have like a secret here trade. They're in a very good position still. Maybe it was correct for us to get the Prince Liam down. Can't win the late game, I don't think. I think if our opponent has a Vine Cleaver right now, we are dead. We are
Let me
dead
think.
meat. Our opponent could also have Unidentified Maul on like a sick mode. Like imagine trade in here, Unidentified Maul, Divine Shield.
I must move quickly.
Secret trade. But I think our opponent has maybe AFK. The big lawyer. He's got a case that he's got to run off to. Alright, well, I guess we'll put our
Brave
opponent.
heroes of Gilneas, arise!
Hey! Well, welcome to the battlefield, Mally
Move
Goes.
quickly.
He might be lagging. No mercy for Stooges. So that was unfortunate. I don't know. If you're watching this on YouTube, it means I've left this match in. And hopefully that gives you an idea more so, I guess, for a way that the deck can lose. Because I think our opponent was in a really good position there, and we probably should have taken the L on that one. But still, GG's for the game that they did play, and hopefully their case goes well. Okay, we are back here with ThatMage's Midrange Paladin, and honestly, we had some pretty good games there. I will chalk a couple of those games up to just an impeccable draw. I think you can kind of see the real power of these kind of one drop into Keleseth into the game plan kind of draws. But I was really impressed. I think that there's a lot going on here. There's a lot that we can work with, a lot that we can chop and change. As far as cards that really jumped out and impressed me, Sword of Justice is by far the biggest win for this deck. I think we were really buffing our creatures to the point where they became, our opponent had to deal with them, and they required quite a bit of commitment to deal with. And also, I was really surprised at how it let us trade in the early game. That, we're happy to chip off a couple of Silverhand recruits. We're happy to, use this to kill the last toughness of an SI7 agent or something like that. So I was really impressed with Sword of Justice. The double Thrallmar Farseer I think is fine. I think there are definitely some situations where, we could have played a Thrallmar without a buff, even with a Sword of Justice or a Keleseth buff, chucked a Blessing of Might or a Blessing of Wisdom on, and actually gotten quite a lot of value out of it. So I think the double Thrallmar Farseer is not the worst card in the deck. I do think this Chillblade champion is a little bit awkward. I think Lifesteal is maybe not the most important keyword to get on our Corpse Takers. I feel like we might be able to get away with just having the one Ziliax in the deck to give lifesteal, and maybe we could cut away at these Chillblade champions and use this space to explore a couple of new themes with the deck. Something I'd love to try would be maybe Vicious Fledgling in here. I'd love to maybe cut the Ironbeak Owl or experiment with the flex slots, figure out how many silences we need, and maybe try experimenting with some other flexible cards like Void Ripper, like Blood Knight, which is another one that has definitely seen play in these kind of decks before. Saw a lot of play to counter Odd Paladin as well, but we can kind of make a very large creature for our opponent to deal with, particularly if they're playing a more combo-y deck that's not going to try and interact with us except for an explicit couple of cards. Blood Knight could come down as a 6/6 as a 9/9 and really threaten our opponent with quite a lot of damage. Some other things worth experimenting with, possibly expanding the 1-drop slot, maybe getting a couple of tech secrets in here. Would have loved an auto defense matrix or a noble sacrifice. Would be great if we could play Hydrologist, but obviously I think Keleseth is quite useful right now. But yeah, lots to experiment with. Of course, if you are watching this video on YouTube, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you think about this deck, about this archetype. What direction do you think it should go in? Should we be going way more aggressive like the old Bogles deck? Do you think we could be a bit more controlling? Maybe play a couple more late game cards, maybe go up to like a Lich King or something like that? Or do you think that maybe the Keleseth's part of the deck is a little bit too weak, we're not getting enough advantage, and instead we could be playing some more 2-drops to increase our effectiveness in the early game? I really would love to hear what you have to say, and I'm sure that ThatMage would love to hear what you have to say as well, so please jump over to the Hearthstone deck article, of course, link is in the description, and let them know what you think. Please give the deck a +1, let everyone know about this really interesting mid-range paladin that's going around, because I'd love to see where this deck goes in the future. My name's Tommy Wave, of course. You can catch me on Twitter and Twitch, Tommy_Wave. But until next time, please stay safe, stay wavy, eat the rich, and just like throw all the pants on one boy. Bye. I hope you enjoyed that video. Check out other ones over here, or come subscribe to the Wave Pool for more excellent times.